Former President Donald Trump is demanding a do-over in the second defamation case brought against him by E. Jean Carroll. The do-over, of course, is requested because he lost the second one, as well as the first one. In a motion filed in court on Tuesday, Trump's attorneys argued that Judge Kaplan had overstepped his authority by preventing Donald Trump from essentially going off the rails. Kaplan had limited Trump's answers to just a handful of pre-reviewed questions, the motion, of course, reads this: that the court's erroneous decision to dramatically limit the scope of President Trump's testimony almost certainly influenced the jury's verdict, and thus a new trial is warranted. So wait a minute. They're arguing that by making sure that Donald Trump answered questions that were relevant to the case, they think that must have hurt him. Now hold on. This was not a trial about whether or not he had sexually abused E. Jean Carroll. This is about defamation. It has already been decided, adjudicated, that he is indeed liable for sexual assault. Okay, so that's already a settled question. So this is about the defamation. Donald Trump wanted to relitigate the entire, decision that he was liable. That's not what the trial was about. That's why Trump had to be, kept on course and answer these specific questions related to the defamation. But their strategy is, no, you should have allowed Donald Trump to be a loose cannon and then lie and defame her more. Bold strategy. Probably wouldn't have worked out in his favor. So Kaplan, I think, at the end of the day, actually kind of did Donald Trump a favor to not allow him to defame her even more. Now, that said, Trump's team also claimed the harm inflicted upon Carroll was nothing more than just garden variety. Yeah, it's normal. It has nothing to do with Trump. And that the columnist legal team failed to tie the harassment she endured after going public with the sexual assault allegations to Trump. So wait a minute. She comes forward to allege that she was sexually assaulted by Trump, and they're saying that any blowback that she received from MAGA supporters in the form of death threats, rape threats, etc., and of course from Trump himself, garden variety, has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with him. Really? That's your argument.
Really?
Okay, all right. And it's a ridiculous argument. And then, in all, Trump's lawyers also requested that the judge downsize the self-purported billionaire's penalty to a fraction of the jury-ordered figure, describing some of the fines as, quote-unquote, grossly excessive. You want to know what's grossly excessive? Why don't you just read what Trump did to Carroll? You would find that both gross and grossly excessive. The way that, the things that he had done to her. So, that said, he clearly defamed her. There were 2 trials about it. Just the defamation itself, the first time, $5 million. He didn't learn his lesson. He went out and he just defamed her again, kept doing it. And so the jury in the second trial decided, okay, we're going to have to hit him with something big to get him to stop. Because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of a monetary penalty is how much money is it going to take for you to stop doing what you're doing? How much of a penalty will it take for you to stop defaming this person? Now, Carroll's team hit back on Trump, calling his arguments laughable. So here's the thing. They're claiming, Trump shouldn't have to pay this. Unfair. Can't believe it. Why is it so much money? I just explained that it's because that figure, a figure high enough, damaging enough, is put on there on purpose to get him to stop defaming. Right? That's very, very clear. And yet he's like, no, I shouldn't have to pay. First, Trump has already asked twice to delay requiring the payment to Carroll. First time was last month. Kaplan denied it. but asked Carroll's attorneys to weigh in. They did in a filing last week. They said this boils down to nothing more than, quote unquote, trust me. Trump then asked again on Monday, requesting a reduced bond of $24.475 million, which again got shut down. And while he's out there doing this, asking the judge, give me time to pay, and then vastly reduce this, please. He's out there saying, I've got a lot of money. I'm not worried about money at all. Well, if you're not so worried about it, then why the frantic requests? Well, we know the reason. He owes a lot of money, not only to Eugene Carroll, but also to the state of New York, numerous other legal fees, not to mention, of course, the fact that he's also running a business that has its own debts that are coming due. And so he is, in my opinion, broke and desperate to weasel out of owing her what he owes for doing things that he had done. And this is just his most latest attempt to try to get out of paying